Janusz, before we even get to the game, when you've got a team like West Ham, they're struggling under Lopetegui, and they come up against the best team in the league, the least that you want from your team if you're a West Ham fan is some fight, some battle. 0 yellow cards and just 7 fouls in the whole game. Does that tell us more about West Ham, or does it tell us that Liverpool today were practically both unplayable and untouchable?
Yeah, I think it was Liverpool. I mean, you can always make the case, for more fight, but I mean, the game was over by halftime. I mean, if you look at Liverpool right now, there's going to be a discussion who's going to win it. I mean, they have the look of the champions, don't they?
Yeah.
Too early to call it, but when you're looking for signs, right, what makes a champion, and I'm sure Arsenal will have a say about that as well. They've been close the last couple of seasons, but you look at this and you look at the rotation, you look at Liverpool, how relatively healthy they are, which is important, of course. Remember a couple of seasons ago when they missed the Champions League? I mean, they've had those issues. Others have that issue. Manchester City, we often don't want to talk about it, but they're relatively healthy right now. They're hungry. I think they are. They're all surprised in how great this season has developed so far under Arne Slot. When all the obvious, when Klopp leaves, nobody probably expected that. But if you look at the key players, they're all performing. Every decision that Arne Slot has made so far has been spot on. I mean, I can't think of one decision that's been wrong, and that includes management of games, rotation, substitutions, and all of that. And add Mo Salah to it, and it's I'm not sure what West Ham could have done. When you have goal after goal just before halftime, and then you come off the halftime and there's another one coming. It's just impossible.
Yeah, just before the half-hour mark, it's 0-0. 14 minutes later, they're 3-0 down, and the game's done. And I'm glad you mentioned Mo Salah, because I wanted to get to him sooner rather than later. 52 goal involvements in the calendar year, 29 goals and 23 assists. He's 32 years old right now. It's totally subjective as to whether or not this is his best season, or it's up there with his best seasons, which it certainly is. So I may as well just go and ask you, is Mohamed Salah playing the best football of his career?
I think so. I mean, he's had a great season. Remember, that was 34 goals, I think, one time. So I mean, you can compare it to that. But when I look at a player in general, because there's going to be the conversation: is he the best ever in the Premier League? And of course, there's so many great players, right? I mean, he's there close to Thierry Henry, and but I look at Shearer, I look at Van Persie, Bergkamp, some of the greatest, Wayne Rooney. Not for today, for sure, but I look for consistency, and that's, I think, 8 seasons he's been there, right? 8 seasons, 20 plus goals, and we're just in, we're still in December, Mark. So that's what's important to me. The ups and downs of Liverpool. There's been some great seasons and maybe not so great, but he always delivers. And we've all said it. He looks a little bit reborn under new manager. And that's nothing against Jurgen Klopp, because that story, if they like each other or not, who cares? He continued to score for Jurgen Klopp, but you can see here that he feels the absolute leader of this team, and he's delivering. And he doesn't seem 32 years old. He looks like he's 22, 23, just ready to break every record there is to be. So he looks happy. He's always healthy, and that spells trouble for the rest of the league.
How does he do it? How does he make it look so easy? How does he make it look so effortless, Mohamed Salah?
Mark, I wouldn't know. I scored 1 goal in my life in my senior career. So, I mean, you're asking me how that's done. Innate instinct, of course. He knows he can do everything. Today, that 1 goal, that 1 touch, right? We can sit here and say, did he mean it or did he not? All I know that he tried to do something special. It doesn't really matter how it came off, right, in those situations. He knew that he wanted to do something to score there or assist. So that was wonderful, because it was a conscious decision on his part. It came off his way. That's all that matters, right? If you and I try to do it, where that be. But we'd be afraid to make mistakes. This is a player that knows how great he is. Those players, I always call him, they're missing a central nervous system. They don't have that, because you and I have that. I, as a player, there were games where I felt that I didn't have to think. Things were coming off, and there were games where a simple pass, 5-yard pass, you were overthinking because that confidence was missing. Well, when I look at Mo Salah, I can honestly say that I don't think I've ever seen him not being confident. I've never seen him pull out of a one-on-one situation or a pass that maybe looks iffy, right, or questionable. That's the difference. But, this is a level that we can't understand.
They say the best coaches make players better. Do the best players, Mohamed Salah, make teammates better?
Oh, of course, of course. I mean, if you're in trouble, you know what to do, right? I think you and I talked about that. When things don't go your way, and I think that was the game against Newcastle, the 3-3. Remember that? I mean, just give it to Mo, and Mo made it happen. Ultimately, I mean, here we are talking about Liverpool being somewhat untouchable, if you will. I mean, they dropped the point. They weren't great in that game, but they led 3-2, and ultimately probably feel like they've lost 2 important points. But in that particular game, I remember nothing was working. Just give it to Mo Salah, and he takes care of the rest. So yes, it does, and on top of that, you can always count on him making that impossible pass when you're making that 30, 40-yard run. Sometimes you say, why am I doing that? That ball's never coming. Well, with him, I think it always does.
If you are Mohamed Salah's representative or part of his agency that represents him, with every goal, with every assist, with every key passage of play, he becomes more valuable when it comes to negotiations for the new contract. Now, it would be easy for me just to ask you, is he becoming, or is his form making him harder to keep for Liverpool? You can answer that if you want. The way I want to approach this question is that he just seems to be happy right now. And he could have all the money in the world. He could go to Saudi Arabia, could do whatever he wants, right? He could go anywhere he wants, and he could be the richest footballer of all time if he wanted, because I'm sure you could do that deal. But would he want that? Would he be happy to earn a decent living, right? To earn a bumper wage, whether it's a 2 or 3 year deal or whatever, but stay where he is because he's happy here.
Yeah, that's exactly that. He's happy. He looks content. He looks like he wants to be here or be there at Liverpool. I'm short of reading body language from everybody, but gut feeling is that, right? I mean, we're probably going to get to Trent. His body language has been different, even though he's been superb as well. There's all kinds of rumors. There's a massive difference in age. Importance is the same. I continue to say, because I think in a different ways they're just as important to Liverpool as anybody else. Van Dijk is in that bracket, of course, as well. But if I had to say, this is Mo Salah that, if they can agree terms, he wants to be at Liverpool. He's not kind of holding Liverpool over the barrel, says if you don't, I'm leaving. I don't get that impression.
18 games, 17 goals, 13 assists in the Premier League this season. That should be illegal. It's unfair. And if you don't captain him in your fantasy Premier League, then just why not? What's the point? Trent Alexander-Arnold scored deflection. First Premier League goal of the season. He's another one that's really enjoying his time at Liverpool, but Marca claim that he'll be at Real Madrid next season because he's out of contract in the summer. This, for me, out the three of them, him, Salah, and Van Dijk, just seems the most obvious one. He's been a great servant for Liverpool. And I don't know, he might stay, but Real Madrid just seems a good fit for him. And when Marca go front page splash, as they did on Saturday morning, they don't do that just for hope rather than expectation. They do that because they believe it's going to happen. And what they're saying is that he has told Real Madrid he wants to join them in the summer because as of January the 1st, he officially can sign a pre-contract with anybody he wants. What do you think will happen here? How do you think this plays out with Trent Alexander-Arnold, Real Madrid, and Liverpool?
Well, I mean, he's a unique situation in a way, right? Because he's a local boy. Obviously, Liverpool will feel that they've invested so much, but he's also given so much back, right? I mean, I think the one thing that some will hold against him is the fact that he's going on a free. Real Madrid, that's a funny thing because they know how to do this extremely well, and they can afford to pay clubs for players. But let's not forget, I'm not going to judge him. Part of me thinks that Liverpool probably, if he goes, and I do think he may be the one going. Again, gut feeling, no inside info. If he goes, there'll be some that will feel that leaving on a free is going to be the one that they talk about. But Remember, I mean, that's why we have the Bosman, right? In the past, the clubs decided, a lot of young people forget about that. The clubs decided your entire life, your entire career. And that certainly wasn't fair. And we're in a situation where the Bosman rule, he can do that. And we cannot, who are we to hold it against him, right? It's a great thing to say, I want to be in my home city and play for my home club. And if it happens, it's great, because it's such a rarity these days, right? In the past, we had so many of them, the great legends, of Stevie Gerrard, or, Francesco Totti. I don't know, there's probably a few more. But we do have to remember that in life, sometimes you've accomplished a lot with one club. I'm sure Trent Alexander-Arnold is very appreciative of it. As I've said, he's paid some of that back, because it's not just Liverpool developing him, but he's been absolutely incredible for Liverpool. And, maybe he wants to see something different life, different culture, whatever it may be, a different challenge, because it is Real Madrid. And we're quick to jump onto that. And I understand that, because there's a small part of me that thinks that way as well, that he somehow owes something to Liverpool Football Club. But I think we need to understand it. That's the way that rule came in. And we too often, the young generation, forgets that, in my days, or when I played and bigger players played, we really had no choice. Players were sent places without any input. Off you go, sold or loaned out or whatever it may be, and you have nothing to say about that. So I can certainly appreciate what he's going through.
Just like we all thought at the start of the season when we were doing our previews, as we approached the halfway stage, Liverpool would be 8 points clear of Nottingham Forest, because we all had them in second place between Christmas and New Year. Are they now? They're not untouchable, because nerves can do strange things and anything's possible. But are we now in a situation in the Premier League when you see Liverpool with the likes of Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota and Darwin Nunez and Cody Gakpo, it's any 2 from 4 at any time, so they've got strength there. When you see Gravenberch replaced by Endo, not even with an hour on the clock, that the only thing that can stop Liverpool from winning the title this season is injuries to key players.
Yeah, it seems that way. It seems that way to me, because I think, as I've said, we need to give credit to Arne Slot in the way he's moved the chess pieces, right? I think, the rotation is important. What he's done. I mean, look what he's done with Luis Diaz, playing him centrally and playing Gakpo in his favorite position. Jurgen Klopp was afraid to do that, right? I mean, he really was kind of afraid to give Gravenberch his chance. It was Endo that was playing more there. And Arne Slot came in and saw what Louis van Gaal saw with Gakpo playing it on the left. Remember in Qatar, he played central there, but obviously in his club in Holland, played on the left-hand side. Now he does that. Who thought that Luis Diaz was going to be this influential centrally? I know there's a lot of changes. So I just think that every time there's an injury, somebody steps in. Now Jota's coming back. We know he's been injured. Konata's been out, and that didn't create a big problem. We see that Gomez is out now, but Kwanzaa was good last year under Klopp. He's given him some experience. So I'm looking at this team right now, and they are too deep in every position with quality, with very little injury to speak about, and even when they drop points, as they did against Fulham and Newcastle, others weren't able to take advantage of that. So, it's theirs to lose for sure.
We end with West Ham, and if they pick enough points up between now and the end of the season, they'll be fine. But if it comes to a battle, I wouldn't fancy them the way that they are. I'm going to go back to what I said at the start. No yellow cards today and 7 fouls. I wouldn't want any of their players in the trenches alongside me if I was forced to battle. They've got quality, don't get me wrong. They've got Kudus, they've got Bowen. But they don't have that fight, that passion, or it certainly looks like that. If they're involved in a relegation scrap, would you worry for them?
I don't, but I worry for Lopetegui, and I thought it was over, right? I mean, his body language, remember, in the beginning of the season was horrendous, right? It looked like he was off, but let's not forget, before this, 4 games unbeaten, right? 2 draws, 2 wins, I think, if I remember, against teams that they're supposed to beat, but the position they're in, that's very, very important. And today, I'll tell you what, after something like this, you say to yourself, well, Lopetegui saved himself. But, I mean, losing 5-0, that sends a message upstairs as well. I mean, lose this game 1 or 2, and then everybody says, okay, that's not bad. That's Liverpool. They're that good this season. We just had a 4-game unbeaten run. But this 5-0 is going to once again undo maybe all the good stuff that West Ham did in those last four matches. So, but I'm with you. I do worry about it. Mikel Antonio's is out longer term. Jared Bowen, we'll see where that is. But I mean, he's been such an important player for them. Their catalyst, their captain, who's played centrally. Fulkrug's been injured. He's in and out. So we'll see. As we all know, Bowen can probably play on, not probably, plays on the right hand side. So, yeah, I think they're going to, they've been there. But I think they'll save themselves. I'm just not sure that's going to be with Lopetegui.
Yeah, Wolves and Southampton, the 2 wins that they had that Janusz mentioned in those 4 games and the draws against Brighton and Bournemouth. But like that's a defeat today that you probably expect. But it's the manner of the defeat. And fans can accept losing to a much better team. But what they can't accept is when a team comes and has it so easy.
You can't do that at home. That was a total capitulation. The second half was, friendly on tour in the summer.
It's a training exercise, wasn't it?
In the United States. That's the problem. Somebody's going to have a massive problem. At least it should have a massive problem in how that game went out. Because the second half, it was just a friendly match.